every home run, touchdown, or trade in 90 seconds. Here's Q90's Johnny Raider.
Well, the Green Bay Blizzard won on Faith and Family Night, winning 67-38 over the Frisco Fighters, dominating the time of possession, 39 minutes to just 22 for the Fighters. The Blizzard also dominated total offense, 253 yards compared to 196 for the Frisco Fighters. It was a pretty back-and-forth game up until halftime, but then Green Bay pulled away in the third quarter, scoring 5 straight touchdowns to cruise to victory. The Blizzard moved to 6-2 and will play the Iowa Barnstormers in Des Moines, Iowa this Friday. Well, in the NBA, both conference finals are set. Mavericks and Timberwolves in the West, and Pacers and Celtics in the East. The Pacers and the Timberwolves had to win a Game 7 to be here, while the Mavericks won in 6 games over the OKC Thunder, and the Celtics cruised to a 5-game series win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is tonight, Pacers, Boston in TD Garden, while tomorrow marks the beginning of the series between the Timberwolves and Mavericks, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
That's your 90-second sports update, sponsored by Lakeshore Communications Incorporated on Q90 FM.
That's unbelievable. You don't want to run into a team like this in the tournament. Even VCU, both those teams you don't want to run into in the second round. But cheers to the Badger bench as well, the young guys. The Badgers' win was sparked by great play off the bench, with the lead narrowed to just 4 points in the second half. Carter Gilmore, the legend, came in and made a series of smart plays and clutch shots to build the lead back up for Wisconsin. Gilmore scored 5 straight points to really solidify that lead for the Badgers, hitting a UW three-pointer that started the Badger run. And also thanks to Xavier Amos and Kamari McGee. Amos padded the lead with a slam dunk immediately after checking in. You knew he brought that spark when he came in, before knocking down a three-pointer as well a few minutes later. And Kamari McGee was key on multiple defensive possessions and fighting for rebounds, dishing out assists. He's small, but he is a dominant guard in the paint. So there's that. Amos finished with 11 points on just 13 minutes of play. So that's big for the future. Gilmore secured 8 big points, 6 rebounds, and McGee collected 6 rebounds himself. That was a season high for him in a total Wisconsin bench effort of 23 points. What'd you think of the bench?
Yeah, bench played great, and they're going to have to lean on the bench as you go deeper into this tournament, especially if they move on today. The bench becomes a bigger and bigger part of the overall team and the overall success of your team as you move through the tournament. So that was definitely a promising sight.
Yeah, the Badgers have a luxury of having players like this on your bench, especially that deep on your bench. Xavier Amos, throughout the season, he kept on building, and now he looks like a legitimate piece of the foundation for years to come. The young guys really look like, Blackwell's going to be here for a while. He's just a sophomore.
Yeah,
unless he pulls
I hope he's here. I hope he's here for a while, but a lot of people have been comparing this team to the one in 2022 that ended up losing in the second round as the 3 seed. And I feel like the biggest part of where those teams differ is the fact that the Badgers just have such a better bench this year.
Absolutely,
I was looking at that 2022 team, and their number 1 bench player was Chris Vogt with 3 points per game. So you got Kamari coming off the bench averaging 7, Carter Gilmore out giving you 4 or 5 a game. Amos coming in giving you 3-4 a night. There's a lot of bench depth that you can lean on, and that's really what differentiates them between the 2022 team and really a differentiator of most teams in the tournament.
Absolutely. Let's break down Steven Crowell's performance as well. You mentioned this on our show, Toss the Mike Sportscast, 10 a.m. on Fridays. You mentioned Steven Crowell scoring 18 points, just 26 minutes, 8 for 10 from the field, scoring burst. Product of his efficiency. Not only that, there was a career-high field goal percentage for Crowell, minimum 10 attempts. 80% is the highest for any Badger that has shot in an NCAA tournament game, and Crowell surpassed Kaminsky as well. Frank Kaminsky, the legend himself, who went 8 for 11, 72% against Baylor in the 2014 Sweet 16. So Crowell is just 20 points away from 1,500 points in his career, all with Wisconsin. He would become the 12th Badger to reach that mark. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even realize it was almost 1,500. That's crazy.
Yeah, we mentioned the young guys. We got some pretty good old guys as well. The unks of the team.
Steven Crowell just had a really nice game for him. But I think a lot of that was just a byproduct of the fact that Montana didn't have much size. And there's nobody that you're going to guard 2 7-footers with on that team. The thing that I'm looking for in this Wisconsin BYU game is it's going to be kind of the same way. BYU's tallest guy that gets minutes is only 6'8". 6'9". They have two guys 6'9", 6'10", but they both come off the bench and play limited minutes. The guys who get most of their minutes are 6'7" big men, but they're 254 and 230 pounds. So how are you going to be able to play against people who might not be as tall but are definitely bigger than you?
Let's break down the final scores of the round of 32 so far. There's only been 2 games that have gone final so far. So let's take a look at that. McNeese, the legend manager himself, lost the game to Purdue, 76-62. Yeah, I don't think anyone really expected anything less. They did not look like an impressive basketball team that could keep on going. So
they didn't. I mean, even Purdue, yeah, they won by 14 points, but I was not at all impressed with what Purdue was doing. They turned the ball over probably a good 15 times in that game. I think Braden Smith himself had 9 turnovers. They were just having wide open shots. McNeese was leaving them wide open, and they made enough of them to build that 20-point lead throughout the game. But I was not at all impressed with what they did, and I think that...
Yeah, Purdue really got lucky, man. I wish the Badgers were in that position. I mean, that's a free Sweet 16 for them, and the Badgers won that game head-to-head against them by 10 points. But let's dive into the other games. St. John's, Arkansas. Let's move on to the East. Oh, my favorite conference. At number 1, it's my team. It's the Cleveland team. It's Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 48-10, best record in the NBA. 9-1 in their last 10. They're on a 9-game winning streak, and they play the Celtics, I believe, tonight or tomorrow. It's going to be the biggest game of the year in the East. Let's go.
Yeah, good team, but I don't know how they're going to fare in the playoffs.
I think they'll be just fine now that they have DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter is a big acquisition for them.
And he's put up some really, really good numbers with the Cavs in this 9-game winning streak. So I believe in it. He's been spreading the court for the Cavs. And that's exactly what the Cavs have needed. He's brought the perimeter defense that the Cavs needed. The Celtics were just hitting threes at will against us when we didn't have DeAndre Hunter. So this Cavs team is legit. They have the experience now. They have the depth. I mean, Charles Barkley himself said that this is the deepest team in the NBA. So did Shaq. I think everyone agreed that this was the deepest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
You got Ty Jerome, you got Isaac Okoro down there, you got Max Strus. You can rotate all these guards in. You got the bigs with Jared Allen, and you got Evan Mobley.
Yeah,
best backcourt in the NBA.
They just have a great mix of scoring ability and defensive prowess, too, with their big men.
It's exactly what they needed. Let's move on to number 2. The Celtics, we just mentioned them before. They're playing the Cavs tonight. 42-17, a little bit of a drop-off from last year, but that doesn't really say much. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Really good team. They're not frauds, in my opinion. You probably don't think that, but
no,
let's hear it.
They aren't. They still have probably the best roster in the East, if I were to say, at least in terms of star power. A couple of their key players have regressed a little bit, but Peyton Pritchard has really come into his own, averaging 15. I think they've just kind of fallen off a little bit this year because they were just on an unprecedented run last year. That was to be expected, but I don't think there's any reason to believe that they're fraudulent.
All right, the Cavs and the Celtics are at the top of Bascom Hill. Let's take a slide down. Now we're to the Knicks. We've gone down a lot. We've just taken a nosedive. The Knicks, 38-20, 6-4 in their last 10. They are frauds. They are frauds.
I don't know about that one.
They are 0-7 against the Celtics and Cavs. They are 0-7.
That doesn't mean that they're fraudulent. I mean,
I think they'll get swept by either of these teams.
I don't think they'll get swept. I think that it could be like they could lose in 6, but I don't think they're true title contenders, but I don't think they're fraudulent losing the first round type of team.
They're fraudulent for what their record is, to be fair. If they were like let's say a 27-32 team in the play-in, maybe I'd be excited about them not being frauds, but whatever. I don't like the Knicks.
Speaking of the next key, it's to shoot more threes. The Badger women have proven they can hit beyond the arc. They hit 6 of 8 of their three-point attempts last week. They can hit them, but it's just a matter of getting those shots off. They got to get those looks. Consistently, they send 3 guards out there, and they need to execute their end of the game plan. Tess Myers, she is the key to that. She went 4 of 4 from beyond the arc, beyond that three-point line. Get her the ball. That is the key to win this game and pull the upset. ESPN only gives the Badgers a 10% chance of winning, but if Tess Myers hits her shots and you give her some looks, I guarantee you that chance is going to go up for the Badgers. Otherwise, you got to show resistance in the paint and get the boards. It can't just be Sarah Williams out there and Carter McRae. You got to be physical against this team. Once again, they are undersized compared to Illinois. Didn't do a bad job against USC, but then again, it all rounds back to the turnovers. Those 24 turnovers were the key in that game. They played good defense. They were physical against a team that was much bigger than them, so I think they can do that today. What's the keys for Illinois? Well, create havoc. USC, they pressed several times on Wednesday. It paid off. The turnovers killed Wisconsin's chances, and they capitalized off that weakness completely. USC, I mean, if they watched the film, Illinois watched that USC film, they're definitely going to be pressing today. Do not let them get looks from three. We just brought it up earlier. Tess Myers, one of the best three-point shooters in the conference. Keep her contained. And obviously, the powerful paint presence, Sarah Williams, you got to contain her as well. Easier said than done, however. Let's look at the Big Ten, the updates there. I'll bring up the scores for you right now. There's 3 games going on. Michigan and Michigan State. An upset is brewing. Michigan, they're 7-5 in the Big Ten, up 54-44 over Michigan State, number 20 in the country. Probably not for long after this one. They are 8-3 in the Big Ten. Penn State versus Northwestern brought them up earlier. The score remains 52-43. And then looking at Indiana versus Minnesota, 6-6 Minnesota is in the Big Ten, and 7-4 is Indiana in the Big Ten. It's a really tight contest right now. I really can't tell who the winner could be right now. It's 23-22. And then looking ahead to later on today, there's going to be a game going on simultaneously. We'll keep you updated on that score as well. It is Oregon 7-5 in the Big Ten versus undefeated juggernaut UCLA, 10-0 in the Big Ten, 22-0 overall. Looking at later on today, we got Maryland versus Washington. They are 16th ranked in the country, 8-4 in the Big Ten, 8-5 overall, taking on Washington and the Huskies from the state of Washington, 5-6 in the Big Ten. That is your Big Ten.